with each breath, you feel more connected to each being. And as you are in this sacred, safe place, you may choose to connect with a being at a time, or the relevant being will step forward to answer your question that we may be asking or presenting to your team. Are we allowed to ask questions today?
Yes, we are ready.
Without going into conspiracy theory domain, we've definitely been witnessing some serious tyrannical power grabs lately, especially with mandated masks. As many have warned, foreseen, this could potentially be heading down a very grim, nefarious path toward even some crazier governmental controls, including forced vaccinations, which there are obvious concern about some channelers, which there are obvious concerns. Some channelers have said that we have adverted from the timeline and are on a better track, that the madness we're witnessing is merely a show to display the corruption, with benevolent forces at the reins and assuring the shadowy players are in check. What is your whole take on the scenario and narrative? How do you see these situations playing out? And this was asked by Rock Sivante.
Thank you for your question. I am Hara's self, and I would like to give my take on this very important subject on your planet at this time. What is occurring right now is something that you might have heard is a blessing in disguise. Is an event that is what is going to trigger the darkness to surface in order for it to be released, in order for it to be seen, in order for it to be exposed, and in order for it to be embraced, integrated. And so, what is happening right now with the control of your rulers, that they are just pushing more and more and more, is a situation that was very much needed from a certain perspective that your conscious minds are not able to comprehend, not at least from the third dimensional perspective. So, looking at your situation from outside the polarized viewpoint, we can say that, first of all, we are with you, we are supporting you, and we feel you, and we know how much you have been challenged and stretched throughout your 2020 year. And we are all with you, with every single one of you, supporting you and holding you and helping you. And so we want to express our compassion for what you're going through, and that we are also available for further assistance. Whoever wants to connect with us, we would be very happy to be of service in a more conscious and direct way. That being said, the situation is extremely crucial and also has immense potential. What is happening is that all this challenge is triggering people in many levels, and we are seeing more and more people waking up to the true essence of who they are, which is and sovereign, free being. And it seems now that your freedom is being taken away, and it is. It absolutely is. But the reason is because you need many of you on this planet, and it has to be a big collective event, because the majority of the people on your planet are still not awake at this level, and they need to have a circumstance like this in order for them to realize, to understand, to get so much pressure that they will finally wake up. So something needed to happen that would challenge you in a huge way. And we know that it's not easy, but please, please understand. And our vessel is getting goosebumps as we are transmitting this message to you. Please understand that this event is a blessing in disguise, and is going to what Hara is seeing right now is like a situation that is being turned upside down, and it has to, because so far on your planet everything had been inversed on purpose from your rulers, however you call them. It has been inversed on purpose in order for you to stay in the darkness, and most of humanity was in the darkness. Everything was inversed on purpose. So it needs to come back into its place again. So this situation is as if it is challenging everything, all the narratives, and that's why you are in this chaos, and there needs to be chaos. This planet is undoubtedly moving with enormous speed into a fifth dimensional existence, which means that this all structures needs to fall apart. And a stretch and a challenge and a chaos is normal, and it's expected, and it's unavoidable. So that's what you are experiencing and what you are seeing right now.
Thank you for that beautiful higher perspective and explanation. would you be able to go into the vaccinations of how they are trying to make us take these vaccinations, how they are trying to scare us? If it comes to the point where we have no choice but to take these vaccinations, what would be your advice? Can we transmute them in any way? Can we energetically change them? Or how can we see it as a benefit and not seeing it as something to the detriment of us?
Thank you for your question. A very important question indeed. At the moment, tapping into the current timelines that are future possibilities, we would suggest that you in no way whatsoever allow these vaccinations to insert your physical bodies. The vaccinations that are being manufactured right now are nefarious and are not of your highest good. And we think you know what we are talking about. There is a very dark agenda hidden behind these vaccinations. But we are aware that at the same time, there are certain groups who are working on a vaccine that might not have any harmful effects on your body. It's very in a very initial, in a very like in their first stages. This project, so we cannot predict the future because it can always change, of course, since you decide as a collective. But tapping again on the current future timeline possibilities, what we see from here is that the nefarious vaccination programs that your mainstream media are talking about, it's not going to happen. And this is something that will, if again nothing changes in the collective consciousness, what we are seeing is that at some point in your 2021, you're going to see that being announced in your mainstream media, that the vaccination will not be mandatory. And then so means you have the choice. And our advice, since you're asking, is like we said in the beginning, that at least what is being produced now, we would advise that you don't inject this in your body.
Thank you. I feel like the information resonates with me. So hopefully it also does with our viewers today. Our next question is from Katerina Towns. Is nuclear war in the air? And will governments be removed this year?
There are certain factions of your political of your political groups that they, yes, would love to create war, and they are preparing for it. There's a lot of movement and activity going on preparing, selling, setting up plans for a future war to occur. But they are of a minority, and because the collective doesn't support this idea, we are very happy to let you know that this is not going to happen. There was a second part to this question. Could you remind us, please?
Will governments be removed this year?
Okay. Well, this is happening already, and it's going to continue to happen as things need to shift and the whole system needs to reset. So there are many key players in the top positions that are already being removed and replaced, and it's going to continue in a bigger scale, and it will eventually make a final shift where your world will be under benevolent beings. And this will take some time, meaning that we don't see a complete cleanup and switch to 100% benevolent governments within the next, let's say, 6 months. It might take a little bit longer, but the people who are in charge right now are already, in many countries, are already influenced by benevolent beings. There, and yes, is a concept that it is happening. We, from the Eric realms, are influencing your governments, and the reason is because your collective, the majority of your collective has decided to move on to the fifth density of awareness. So we have the right, we have the right to, let's say, influence certain key people on your planet, and we're very happy to let you know that this is working, and they are cooperating willingly and shifting in beautiful ways more and more towards a more conscious planet. But the complete removal of like something violent, if the person who is asking the question was if there's suddenly going, the whole political system going to collapse. No, we don't see from our perspective, we don't see like a sudden mass total collapse. We see it more gradual.
I also don't feel like there'll be a total remove, but an integration and a change. Sometimes within a company there's changes, and our government is probably no different. Changes are inevitable. So thank you. So Phoebe Brown is asking for some words of encouragement from those you are connecting with. Words of encouragement. What are we experiencing now is unique in human history, in that this is the first time that all around the globe, everyone is feeling the same vibrations at the same time. What advice and words can you give us at this time? Words of upliftment or advice for us to take individually?
Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful question. Our vessel is already receiving the transmission and cannot help but shed tears of joy. Indeed, what is happening on your planet is of major importance, not only for the history of Earth, but for the history of your universe. We cannot put it into words how unique is what is happening on this planet right now. And many have said that all eyes are on Earth, and it is so, because what you are achieving and where this is taking is absolutely brilliant, unbelievable. The words of encouragement, we are not going to give you words of encouragement. We are going to give you facts. And the facts are that the light has won, dear ones. The light has won. And we want you to take a deep breath in right now and take that in. Breathe that in. The light has won. And it has done so in the energetic and etheric levels. And from our perspective, we can see it and we already celebrate. And it's going to manifest into your physical reality within the next years. And it's going to be very, very fast and very, very beautiful. There might be a little bit of turbulence for the next 1 to 2 years. It's necessary. Please stay grounded, stay in your hearts, and know the truth. If you connect to your hearts, and there is where the truth lies, you will feel and know what we are presenting to you right now. The celebration of the light which has won. The dark forces have lost. They cannot hold this matrix anymore. They have already given up. And what you see now is the collapse of that old earth matrix that was in place and is now crumbling. And when it crumbles, then it will emerge the new systems and the new frequencies, and the new earth will emerge, which is already, of course, brewing, and you are creating it into your minds. But the more people waking up, and the more you hold that light, and the more you hold that belief, and And the more you hold that high frequency, you are manifesting it faster and faster and faster. So it's very important to embody this high elevated frequency of joy of that new earth, who is already here, and it's just a matter of time until it manifests into your physical reality.
You speak of the split taking place, and you also say the light has won. But could you go into the split of humanity? Will there be those experiencing the old earth where the light has not won? Because we know there is always polarity. Who will be
Yes,
experiencing that aspect of the light has won?
yes. The ones who believe in it, and the ones who resonate and match to that frequency and that reality and that timeline. The split has been on your planet since almost its inception. And that split is the split in the fallen consciousness, the fall from the heart-based living into an ego mind-driven life, and so creating this polarization, as the mind is a polarized tool where it sees opposite forces. So the new earth and this new emerging world is a dimension opening up for the ones who will choose to experience it. And you have free will to choose the experience that you wish to experience. And certainly some souls will choose to stay in a lower vibration reality, and that's fine, doesn't make them less, but they need to learn more lessons, and they want to stay in lower vibrational realities in order to challenge themselves and grow, and that's fine. So even in the more confined prisons, one can be free. Why do we say that? Because there will be an overlay of dimensional reality on your planet, and the ones who choose to and resonate in that frequency, they will see and experience the reality from that perspective. And the ones who wish to stay, remain in the dimensional reality, they will experience that. And there's no judgment. Is this answer covering your question?
Yes, thank you. I think you described it beautifully, especially for those who choose to stay in the lower frequency dimensions. Or the way you explained it was great. And that there is no judgment. There is no judgment. I feel it's us the judge. We are the only judge. We're the judge and the jury. So my next question would be, will the virus be gone by the end of the year?
It's a very interesting question with many levels in it. And we have to try and give it to our vessel in a linear way, because it's now receiving everything at the same time. And she's a little bit overwhelmed and she doesn't know where to start. So the first level to this question is in regards to the virus, in terms of density. What do we mean by that? Is that from our perspective, the virus was launched with a certain density, and the plan was to be rather a violent one and quite destructive. But what we see is, because that was not aligned with the universal plan, the virus mutated influenced by external forces in collaboration with your collective agreement on some level. So it was the choice of the human beings on a certain level of awareness that was intermingled with the influence from your cosmic family, let's put it that way, from beings from other dimensions who are assisting you. And we, in a co-creative manner, were able to change the molecular structure of that virus and mutate it so that it is now very, very harmless, much less than it was. And it is fading out, it's dying out. Now we cannot give you a certain timeline of when it is going to completely disappear, because it's organic, and I'm not sure if it would be appropriate to give you a specific date, but we see it happening very quickly, and within the next few months we would say that it's going to die out organically and completely. It is already almost not existent. It does exist though in your mainstream narrative, in your mainstream media narrative. They are still very much holding on to it, for reasons that we have discussed previously. But in actuality, in reality, it has almost died out.
It's interesting how you say that this was chosen by humanity, because it's as if, you know, when you incarnate as an individual, you come in with a soul plan. And it would make sense if humanity as a collective would have the same things planned out so that we could wake up in a sense. So this may be part of our waking up process to ascend into the new world, however that may be for each individual. So I think it does bring a different perspective to look at the virus. And you have said as well, it's like, you know, it flips things upside down. So it does make you look at things in a different way.
Yes.
Good.
We are glad that you can expand your awareness and see things from different perspectives. It helps you integrate your experience.
Yeah. Well, we do know that many are suffering, even though we have chosen this collectively. And M.E. Mercer has asked how the intensity of this time we're headed into will affect some people. Will there be many exiting at this time?
There are many exiting already, and the first ones are your animal kingdom. They are already exiting in big scales, and you see this already is happening the last 20 years. Right now, as we speak, 150 species are extinct per day. Why is this so? The animals on your planet, this extremely benevolent system of collaboration, they are very, very sensitive. So they are able to sense the shifts that are taking place, the energetical and shifts that are taking place on your planet, and they are already moving on. What we see from here is that Hara's conscious mind is interfering. She says, "How?" She has many questions because we just said to her, they are moving into the fifth dimension, and Hara has many questions. Well, what does it mean, and where is that, and how do they go? But perhaps we don't want to get too confused there with her questions. So I'm sorry. So they are moving into the fifth dimension already, as Gaia has done already so far. She has already moved into the um, fifth dimension, meaning that the third dimension already exists, but there is an overlay of the fifth dimension and um, um, in place. All it's set and ready and waiting for you. And many of your animals are already doing that transition. They are leaving the third dimensional reality and moving into the fifth. Of course, from your perspective, it's very unfortunate and sad, but please do not despair, because what is really taking place is much more beautiful. Now, humans, of course, are also affected by this tremendous shift in many ways. It's a topic that could be discussed for a long time on the effects that it has. You might all have been, or many of you have heard about the what we call Ascension symptoms. They started few years ago and are still going on, and they will continue. And yes, people are exiting. Yes, some they choose to exit. Of course. Well, it's a choice that they do, that they make. Sorry, it's a choice that they make to exit. Um, and some they exit because they can't wait to reincarnate, because the golden age is approaching faster and faster, and they want to be here and um, experience that in first row. So they are exiting because of that. Some they just cannot hold more suffering. There have been many souls who incarnated on earth to repay, balance out karma, play out drama, and of course, you know, your planet is very challenging, so they have already worked a lot, and because what is happening right now is very strong, and they just choose to not, they cannot take more. They you know, they reach their limit, and they willingly want to just go and rest. And yeah.
Well, I feel like you've covered it very well from all angles. So thank you for that. And I know it is sad to have a loss here in the physical, but it is only a transition from one form into another.
Yes, one thing we would just like to say quickly is that we want to congratulate all of you. Hara is getting goosebumps. We really want to congratulate you, and we cannot really describe to you and how incredibly powerful, amazing souls you are. All the people, all the souls who are on this planet right now are just absolute heroes. You are absolute heroes. You really have no idea how courageous, how advanced, how fearless and powerful you needed to be to decide to incarnate on this planet at this time. So, seeing you in this majesty from where we are, outside of the drama, we have no doubt and no worry at all for your future. So we just wanted to say that, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of upliftment and support.
Well, thank you everyone. Thank you, Hara, for that beautiful knowledge and information today. We didn't get to everyone's questions, so I know that we can only add to the amazing questions that are waiting to be answered. Thank you very much for your time and all our viewers today. Tell us a bit about what you experienced in your session, if you feel like you can share something of what you saw and experienced.
Sorry, I'm still floating. It was a bit yeah, there were moments that I was going very deep, so I feel like I traveled throughout the universe and I'm back. So I don't know what to say. I hope it was beneficial. I hope it resonated. Of course, it's just a perspective. Please, we use your own discernment and know that the truth lies within your own hearts. If some of the things that we brought through helps, that's absolutely amazing. Whatever doesn't resonate, just throw it away. I need to watch it after again, I think, because as if I'm not very connected to what was coming through. I just remember a moment where I think it was at the end where
Your conscious mind was getting in the way.
The closing message was so powerful for me, how I experienced it. And I think it's often hard to, and I think that goes for many people who are under in a BQH session, what they experience. It's hard to express it and to be understood. Its depth or its intensity often. I know this with as I facilitate also questions and sessions, but the closing message where they were saying that we are heroes. Wow, it was just so huge. I mean, I felt it throughout every cell of my body. It's just so encouraging, so nurturing, just
yeah, so much love.
So and so rich, so true. I saw humanity literally glowing, and I saw us in our true essence, which is really pure light. And I mean, it's hard to have this perspective and this perception in our everyday life because we have chosen to live in the physical reality. But if you quiet your mind and move a little bit beyond the drama, oh my God.
Beauty beyond your imaginary dreams. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us a bit about when your conscious mind came in. We do experience that sometimes, right? Where we have to, because our analytical mind also wants to have a say sometimes. How do you deal with that?
So that was when I think I remember that was the moment with the animals that my higher self said that they are moving into the fifth dimension, right? And then my mind started to kick in and had many questions. Well, I basically just had to ignore it.
Yeah.
Like we do in meditation to just move away the ego mind, the thinking process, the thoughts, just let them float by. I just, even though it's interesting how the conscious mind is so loud. It came in like so loud, and it confused me. And I think it was because I was so high and the ego mind was like kind of more vibration, a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I felt like, oh no, that's not where I want to be. Okay, I'm curious, but I let you go.
Yeah.
So I kind of pushed it gently
Mm.
on the side and said, okay, I'm just going to forget about these questions, even though they are interesting, but let's just not go there. And I focus my attention back into the place where I was.
Yeah. I feel that, would you say the ego mind's really loud? Would you say that when you speak to or connect to these beings that are giving you the answers, whoever they may be, would you say that their voice is more subtle and softer, and that is possibly why it is so difficult to maintain that connection and trust that voice compared to the ego mind?
Yes, this is, I totally resonate. I agree with what you say, for sure. And there are two more things that I would like to add. One is that I more and more can feel where the information is coming from, as almost physically. I tend to, of course, it's me, my own experience. Maybe no one else might resonate with that, but I'm just sharing it since you asked. So I tend to feel that when is my inner wisdom, my team, my guides, whoever, it's coming more from here, from the space, projecting outwards and coming back. And when it's the ego mind, I feel it here, like the left brain, literally, like it's kind of here. And then one more thing, which is very it's complementary to your comment about the softness and the gentleness of the information, is that when I'm connecting to my guides and my team, the information is more expansive.
Yeah.
It's of a higher vibration. It makes me feel good. It's always like an explosion of joy, of love, of understanding, of compassion, of kindness, of humility, of humbleness, of all these attributes, all these values, and it's, let's say, positive.
Yeah.
And when my ego mind jumps in, it's always a bit more lower vibration, a bit more confusing, a bit more aggressive, because yes, because yeah, more pushy, like how you say, spoiled little child, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
It's like a spoiled little child. If I could make this metaphor, is like for me, it's like the ego mind is like a spoiled little child, and the higher self, or the whatever, is like a wise old woman.
Well, even though I have my own answers to these questions, I ask them not only for my benefit to hear your perspective, but also to let the viewers also hear what you go through and experience and what it is like for you, because it may resonate with you, just as you said, So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thanks to Quantum Healers for hosting the show.
Thank you so much for watching. Sending you much love.
Big love.